Alright, welcome. My name is Kasper, I am Stanley Creative, and I'm making this little thing called Rocket Explorer. If you haven't heard about it, it's a rocket viewing experience where you can view rockets in all different manners and take them apart and compare them to each other. So let's dive into this update's development vlog. So what I want to talk about is what I've been doing for the past month in this, and at the end a little bit about what I'm going to do in the future. So one of the biggest features in this update is the texture swap capability, and it basically allows for reusable rockets to have a reused texture where it looks a little bit roughed up and sooty, and you can see it's not new. I haven't made one for the space shuttle yet, but I don't think it needs one because they took so long refurbishing it, and it basically looked new every time. If any of you know of any parts of it that looked more and more damaged by the amount of time it flew, please let me know down below. But I don't think that one needs it. So I can just show you right now on the PC here what it is that it actually does. Load it up, very fancy, and a little new loading screen that you'll see for like a split second. Okay, let's see. Need to open the menu. Let's find a reusable rocket like the Falcon 9. Now when you hit the change configuration, you'll see this little button here which is saying reused, and basically when you click that you get this nice little texture that I created to the best of my ability to look like how the Falcon 9 looks when it's about to fly again with a new booster. So not how it looks when it's landed, because there's a slight difference. They do some testing on the actual booster, and that's why you see some lines on it. And you only see that when it's about to fly again. So that's the texture I tried to create here. And then obviously that's the same thing for the Falcon Heavy. And I suppose you can try this one for yourself if you decide to support and try the game. But one thing you might notice here is that the new gun doesn't have any different configurations. It might do in the future, in reality I don't know, but I don't have it here, which is important because it needs to hide those other configurations things, whatever. And I needed to allow to open the panel if it saw that it had a reused texture, but even though it didn't have different configurations. Because if you check a rocket that doesn't have different configurations, it's grayed out and you can't actually change it. So I needed you to be able to click it and then hide the other buttons if there wasn't any other configurations. So that was a little challenge that I had to overcome. So that's basically the texture swap feature. I really like it. I hope you do too. And then let's move on to a little small thing, but that's when you compare rockets. See this here, and then you add another one, do whatever you like. And if I want to sort them by height, for example, then before there was some trouble where it would end up merging some rockets and they would be like inside each other, and it was really ugly and I had no idea what it was. And then I tried to look into it, and it was just because I needed to drag some buttons into some fields, and that was it. So another small thing before I move on to the next bigger thing is I just added the keys that you can use here, all the different movement and buttons you might want to click. So you can see that. Obviously, because I didn't tell anyone and didn't have any menu in here, I was the only one who knew what buttons to press, so sorry about that. Now you can read it all here. So now let's move on to some other things. So I added some new rockets, and they were mainly orange in nature. I made the big bad orange rocket, and I made the space shuttle. And I'm not sure that I'm completely done with the space shuttle, but it's just so different from rockets in general that it just took a lot of time, and I finished it to a degree. So I like where it's at right now, and I think it's good enough. And then maybe I can go back and make it even better in the future. But one other rocket that I made is this one, and it's dedicated to Felix Schlang of What About It. You might have seen that show. And that's simply because he supports me at quite a high tier on Patreon. So thanks a lot to you, Felix. And if you want to also choose a rocket and have it dedicated to you, you can also support it here. But by no means is that necessary. Like, that's a lot of money. So please only do it if you really want to see a name there or want to support me a lot. And it really makes me able to do this part-time at this point, which is crazy to me. Like my like Stanley Creative is like fully supporting me right now I'm doing freelance and then I'm doing this with Patreon. It's crazy. I love you. Thank you. Anyways, that was a tangent. Yeah, I updated the pad. So what you might notice is that there's a lot of railing, I guess. I don't know what it's called. Like all the things that make you not fall off the pad and into a deep hole. Now it's obviously based off the modern pad 39A, and there are some differences between different launch pads, but this is not only a historic one where we saw the moon missions launch from Saturn V and the space shuttle launched a lot from there as well, but it's also a pad that we see a lot because SpaceX happens to launch a lot of rockets compared to other providers, and so we see this pad a lot, so it might be the most recognizable. Also, I am a fanboy of SpaceX, so clearly it's a good pad. I also added the water deluge system, and it doesn't actually spew out water now when you launch, but I think that'd be pretty cool to have later when I fix some performance issues first. Just have water spew all over the place and up in your face. That'd be pretty cool. Now there are a lot of other small things that I did, like I fixed some audio issues with Starhopper and other rockets where they just kept playing after you cancelled a launch. I fixed some stuff on the Vostok and the Soyuz rocket again. I just realized now that I didn't change the image for the Falcon Heavy expendable version, so both of the images in the configuration panel is probably just the same Falcon Heavy. I'll fix that in the next update. Sorry about that. Now this is something that I haven't done much in these development vlogs, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I'm gonna do in the future, some thoughts I have. I want to experience rockets in a different way, so I might make another scene where you're not on the launch pad, but where you actually see the rockets laying down. I think that'd be a pretty cool way to see some scales, because it can be quite difficult to imagine the scale of all that when it just goes up into the sky. I think it'd be quite cool to actually walk the length of the rocket. I think I've mentioned it before, but I think that's something that I need to work on now that I have a lot of basic features in there. Some other things that I've also mentioned before, but I really need to do: improve the particles, all the fire and smoke coming out of there, and then performance. Some of you guys have mentioned some performance issues, and I'm gonna take a look at that. I think particles are a big part of it, but also just the rockets have a lot of parts, and I might be going too fine in the detail, but I don't know. I'll take a look at it. I want to have a wider selection of rockets, not just more rockets, but in terms of where they're from. So right now I don't have any Chinese rockets, so that'd be cool to have some long marches in there. I also want the Proton rocket because it just looks cool. I want to improve the rocket selector, so when you open this panel here, you just see one rocket, and then when you click on it, you can also just switch between one rocket at a time. So I think I need a panel where you can see like a big grid of rockets, or maybe sorted in A through Z. Maybe I need a search function, so it's like this, but it just has a little search bar below. I've thought a little bit about it. If you have any ideas, please let me know. But I definitely think I need to improve that, because now that I'm getting a lot of rockets in there, it gets tedious to go all the way down to the Saturns and Vulcans all the way down at the end. So definitely need to improve that one. So yeah, before I round off, I just want to say two things that I am aware of that's going to be fixed in the next update, which is this thing here where wide rockets merge into each other and the small rockets have a lot of distance between them. I'm going to fix it so I have the width of the entire rocket, like if it has boosters including that, and then I'm going to add that to a smaller value so they basically always have, say, 5 meters between them. Another thing I'm aware of is the Space Shuttle and SLS audio when launching. There's a little bit of a countdown first. I should either remove that or tweak the animation for those two specifically so they wait and then start up when the countdown is finished. I don't know.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
So that's quite funny, but that was a lot of stuff. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you want to try this out, you can support me on Patreon for $5, and if you just want exclusive insight, you can get that for $1. And no matter what you choose, just by viewing this, you're supporting me So thank you so much for watching this. Please give it a thumbs up or subscribe or something. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That'd be really cool to have that going for me. So help me get to 1,000 subscribers. And yeah, anyways, that was a lot of rambling and a lot of development. So I will see you next month. Thank you so much. Bye.